Hielominame is Denis Halandzovskyi. Here is what we know tonight about Russia and Belarus conducting the Zapad 2025 exercises near NATO's borders, and what that means after the recent drone incursions into Poland. The drills run in Belarus and Russia and include long-range aviation, naval elements, missile units, and extensive command and control rehearsals. Russian statements highlight defensive scenarios, but the package features capabilities that matter for power projection. MiG-31 aircraft carrying Kinzhal ballistic missiles flying long-endurance tracks over the Barents Sea, a reported launch of a Zircon cruise missile from a Northern Fleet frigate, and large-scale strike and counter-strike playbooks. These activities began just days after multiple Russian drones violated Polish airspace during a mass attack on Ukraine, prompting a decisive response. Jets scrambled, several drones downed, debris recovery across eastern voivodeships, and allied consultations under NATO's Article 4. Poland then pushed the matter to the United Nations to establish a public record. Before we go deeper, if you find this useful, please subscribe to the channel and like this video. And thank you to all of Ukraine's partners for your continued help and support. Let us set the baseline without drama and without euphemisms. When a state runs joint strategic drills while conducting a high-tempo air campaign against a neighbor, the scenarios practiced are not abstract. They blend reconnaissance, saturation strikes, air defense suppression, information operations, and rapid decision-making under pressure. They also test logistics and mobilization, moving units, reservists, and materiel under a neutral label of exercise to check how quickly formations cohere, how well staffs coordinate, and how smooth the transition is from practice to real-world tasking. For NATO capitals, two realities follow. First, the alliance must assume that some Zapad vignettes rehearse coercion against the eastern flank, including pressure on the Suwałki corridor and the Baltic Sea lines of communication. Second, the drone incident over Poland is not separable from the drills. It is part of a broader pattern of probing for seams, seeking ambiguity, and measuring political cohesion. The immediate picture is therefore twofold. Operationally, air and missile defenses on the eastern flank stay at a higher posture, with quick reaction fighters, ground-based systems, and counter-UAS teams layered to shrink intercept windows from minutes to seconds. Politically, Allied messaging emphasizes unity, restraint, and readiness, calm language backed by visible deployments. That combination protects civilians, keeps supply routes to Ukraine reliable, and reduces room for miscalculation even as Moscow tries to manufacture uncertainty. What did the Poland drone incident reveal about vulnerabilities, and how are allies closing the gaps as Zapad unfolds? Start with detection. Small, low-flying drones can hug terrain and exploit weather to reduce radar visibility. During a saturation strike on Ukraine, dozens of tracks cluttered the air picture, making it harder to distinguish spillover from deliberate incursions. The fix is not a single sensor, it is density and fusion. Forward-based 3D radars, passive RF detectors, EO, IR cameras, and airborne platforms must hand off tracks seamlessly, including from Ukrainian sensors to Polish and alliance nodes. That handoff, with shared confidence levels, speeds up engagement decisions and reduces false alarms. Next, the decision clock. Intercepts in mixed civilian airspace happen under strict rules of engagement. To compress timelines safely, you need trained crews on strip alert, clear kill boxes near the border, and pre-agreed cross-border coordination so that a fighter launching from one country can prosecute a target that will cross into another within minutes. You also need a toolkit matched to target value. Not every inbound requires a costly interceptor. Jammers, guns, and low-cost effectors have to sit alongside Patriots and modern SAMs for sensible economics and sustained readiness. Third, communication. Local authorities must know exactly when to issue debris warnings, how to route emergency services, and how to keep airports and rail operating with minimal disruption. Short, consistent messages beat rumor every time, especially when adversaries push narratives like "it was a mistake" or "electronic jamming made them drift." The disciplined, facts-first tone from Polish leaders after the incursion, paired with Allied statements, reduced ambiguity and denied the information space to those looking to sow doubt. Finally, the strategic link to the Zapad scenarios. Russia's exercise messaging says repelling external attack, but the package includes long-range strike profiles, simulated missile tasks, and staff drills that mirror coercive options against Europe. The correct response is not panic, It is preparation. Reinforce air policing and ground defenses, tighten maritime and border surveillance, and keep sanctions enforcement and export controls, squeezing the inputs for drones and missiles. All of this complements support to Ukraine. The fewer weapons Russia can produce and launch, the fewer risky nights along NATO's frontier, and the less leverage Moscow holds over European security. What to watch next, and how to read signals without getting lost in noise. First, the exercise calendar. Zapad 2025 is scheduled through midweek with daily vignettes that may include joint air defense, anti-ship tasks in northern waters, long-range aviation drills, and ground maneuver coordination inside Belarus. Expect Russia to publicize footage of successful launches and strikes. Treat those clips as strategic theater designed to influence audiences as much as to train forces. Second, alliance movements. Look for additional fighter rotations, mobile counter-drone batteries, and extra radar coverage announced with dates and locations, not vague assurances. Notices to airmen and temporary airspace restrictions in eastern Poland and the Baltic region are a practical indicator of how authorities read risk on a given day. Third, diplomacy. After the drone incursions, Poland invoked Article 4, and allies pledged to reinforce the eastern flank. The United Nations track matters as a legal ledger. It codifies timestamps, trajectories, and debris recovery, and it raises the diplomatic cost of repeat violations. Expect statements from NATO's Secretary General underscoring unity and readiness, paired with calm language meant to avoid escalation. Fourth, the information fight. You will hear claims that drones strayed by accident, that jamming explains border crossings, or that Zapad is purely defensive. Compare those narratives against observable patterns, multi-hour barrages, synchronized timing, routes that intersect Allied airspace, and rehearsals of strike options far from the front line. Serious analysis favors evidence over spin. Fifth, the link to Ukraine's defense. Every improvement in NATO's air picture and counter-UAS posture helps shield the logistics lifeline running through Poland to Ukraine. Every additional air defense battery and radar in the east shortens the window for risky incidents, and every step that constrains Russia's access to components and financing for drones and missiles reduces the intensity of future strikes. Bottom line for viewers is simple. Drills near NATO borders, paired with cross-border probes, are meant to test nerves. The most effective answer is visible readiness, steady coordination, and sustained support for Ukraine's defense. That is how you lower risk while denying adversaries the ambiguity they seek. Please subscribe and like to help more people find clear, verified updates. And thank you to all of Ukraine's partners for your steadfast support.